Hello, my name is Steve. I am the Independent Patriot. And thank you for tuning in today. Today is Sunday. It is a beautiful day outside here in my hometown. And I want to talk today about the differences between capitalism and socialism. The socialism movement is not new. It has failed in many countries. It has created more poverty than I've ever seen throughout the world, and so my viewpoint is going to be pretty negative about it. And I'm going to explain some reasons why I'm so negative about it. First of all, socialism has been very popular with the millennials, and a lot of the reason for that is candidates like Bernie Sanders promising and pandering to the millennials regarding free college education, free health care. This kind of pandering makes me sick. Who's going to pay for all of it in the end? Bernie wants the top 1% to pay for it. And of course, that's annoying. I'm not the top 1%, but I do work hard and I do make a good wage. And I feel that my money I earned it. And I don't live off of my earnings, my savings, but I am saving a lot because I'd like to retire someday. With someone like Bernie in office, or someone like Elizabeth Warren in office, or any other socialist candidate, I may never get to retire, and you may never either, because this country's going to be so in debt it'll just cave in on itself and with debt, and that's the last thing I want for you or for anyone in this country, is to have to deal with that in the future. Look, it happened to the unions. They're starting to fail, not because people like or don't like the unions, because they've made so many promises regarding wages and improved wages and representation. But in the end, the unions sold out their future. And now all those decisions made in the 80s and the 90s that I witnessed, where the unions were selling out their futures, the future is now. And the future is terrible. And the unions are falling apart because what they're promising they can't deliver, and everyone knows it. I've seen a lot of automotive plants that the unions have tried to unionize, and it hasn't worked because people know now that the union is really, I wouldn't say a Ponzi scheme, but it is taking money out of the pockets of the workers and putting it in the hands of union stewards who have wasted it, who squandered it, just awful things that they've done to pensions, and people have seen this, and it's part of the history of unions, and it's ugly, and no one wants to be a part of it. I mean, the mob was even involved in Chicago with the unions, and not a place I'd want to be. Now, socialism, to me, it's a pseudo-religion. It's a pseudo-science. And it's run by tyrannical politicians who want to tell you how to act, want to tell you what you can say. When I was at the University of Michigan back in the late 80s, early 90s, there was late 80s, there was a rule that you couldn't say anything negative about anybody. It was First Amendment right was being trampled upon, and the government had to come in and shut that down, because it was taking away your rights to freedom of speech. Yet the people of in that current scenario, they tried to take away your freedom of speech. They tried to keep you from saying what you wanted to say. Can you imagine going on around wanting to say, I don't know, just swear. You're angry and you want to swear, and now you can't swear anymore, so you get stuck in the jail for swearing. Or you get fined for swearing. What kind of world is that? The world you want to live in? I don't think so. What if you said something bad about Trump and then you got put in jail or fined? You wouldn't like that very much, would you, either? Socialism, the liberals, far left liberals, the progressives, I should call them, love to talk negative about Trump. But imagine the table turned when they'd have to actually pay fines for saying something negative about their new socialist president. Gosh, that would be terrible. It'd be awful. So socialists believe in ending private ownership of industry. This is something that came out within the socialist movement, and it's a small but growing movement. Unfortunately, the millennials seem to like the idea of getting free stuff, but when you start to transfer ownership of industry such as electrical and gas and power, what you end up is you have less competition, and competition drives the price down. And without competition, if you have state-owned businesses, industry like that, you have higher prices, you have mismanagement, you had the same things that happened in the unions back in the 70s and the 80s and earlier. And I'm telling you, it's going to be a mess. And it already is a mess in other countries. It's going to be a mess here, and I don't want a mess when I'm trying to retire. Thank you very much. They want to get rid of the profiteers. The profiteers, what they mean by that is the business owners, the private business owners of products that are important. I don't know, would that be automotives? They want to privatize automotive? I mean, not privatize, but put worker control over automotive. That's what they did with General Motors, basically. And, General Motors has been struggling lately. They're starting to come around, but they were a shadow of what they used to be. They used to be the biggest car company in the world, and through a lot of greed and mismanagement. And the terrible 2008 downturn, they've really had bad times. And God help us, they were put into worker control. I don't know what's gonna happen with General Motors in the future. They're coming out with some good brands. I'm not going to say anything about that, but I can tell you that calling the business owners profiteers, well, it's their sweat and their tears and their hard work that's making those companies great. That are it's their vision that makes those companies what they are and provides for lots of people's jobs. And it is through their hard work and vision and competition that gives us great products. And they're with the competition, that's the lowest prices you're going to get. So I don't understand why anyone would want to call people profiteers when they're the visionaries that came about. Would you call Alexander Graham Bell a profiteer? Would you call Edison a profiteer? Any of those people who came up with new products and designs and alternative ways of doing things, would you call Elon Musk a profiteer? I wouldn't. I think Elon Musk is a visionary, personally. I own a little bit of stock in Tesla, but not very much. I have to say that. So capitalism, private ownership, and competition provides the best prices for goods and services. Where they say the profiteers send their profits and profits, they keep them themselves. Actually, the people who own businesses, they have stocks and they give out dividends, especially those industries that we're talking about here, those industries such as gas and power and things of that nature. I guess people just don't know these things. I have a finance master's degree in finance from Mississippi College, but I knew about these things before then. Perhaps the millennials need to learn a little bit about the capitalist system before they start saying it's no good. I've been told, or I've learned from the internet, that the 2008 downturn and recession was the reason why millennials don't trust capitalism. Okay, that I can understand why. That pain of the 2008 downturn. Hey, I lived through the downturns of the 70s, the gas crisis. I remember those things, wondering if we're going to have enough food on our table. I mean, it was tough. And the Carter administration didn't give us much relief in terms of attitude there, saying we are in a malaise. Democrat. What we really need is someone with a vision to be our president, someone who is working hard to improve our systems. And I don't see anyone on the Democratic ticket, any of them, talking about that sort of thing. They're talking about changing us into socialists and giving money robbing from the rich, giving to the poor. Well, let's talk about that. So yeah, they were talking about the top 1% have 40% of the wealth. Well, the top 1% are business owners, and the rest of us are not. I plan to be a business owner soon, and I think everyone should try. Everyone should try and become a business owner, to try their own ideas and take risks, and don't always work for companies. Nothing wrong with that, I suppose, but you're never going to be making millions of dollars working for a company. They will pay you the going rate, and to demand more money than the going rate is, I'm sorry. The going rate depends on your locality, where you live, the cost of living. It depends on other companies around you wanting your labor. Your labor is a commodity, and you have a certain amount of hours of it each day. And when you say you want more money for it, you basically, it's socialism, it's unionism, it's all that stuff, all wrapped up in one, and you are tipping the balance of the scales towards labor costs, and then guess what? All the work goes out of the country. And that's what happened in the 90s and the 2000s. Sent all of our work out of country because we kept cranking up the cost of corporate taxes and corporate business and red tape and regulations. And finally now they're coming back because of who? Because of President Trump. Hello, people. Think about it before you start throwing negatives. Now, yeah, 2008, why did that happen anyways? Do you remember? Did you research it? It had to do with people's risk-taking in buying houses and mortgaging away their lives. They got subprime mortgages, and then the banks, within their greed, decided to bundle those subprime mortgages. But it was the people of the United States getting greedy, buying lots of vacation homes, thinking that the price is always going to go up on real estate. I'm sorry, that's not always the case, especially when you take all those risks. For the first time ever, the bottom dropped out of the real estate market, and people were upside down in their mortgages, and they couldn't pay the bills, and guess what? They had to walk away from the mortgages. And this is going to happen again in other industries in this country. And yeah, you have to watch out for your finances. You have to understand what's going on around you. That's part of living in a capitalist society. You have to understand what's going on around you. You don't live to the very tip of your means. You have to make sure you're saving on a day-to-day basis. And this is what kills me about the millennials these days, is they don't understand this. I don't know if they haven't been taught it in school. You cannot live at the very edge of your means. You have to live well within your means. You don't go out and buy a brand new car if you already have a mortgage and you can't afford the brand new car. Have you ever put together a budget? Do you know what a budget is? This is why I think millennials are scared of capitalism, because it means they have to actually work to understand their own finances. It tells them, no, you can't afford it, and they don't want to hear that. They've been given things by their parents all their life, and now that they live by themselves, they want. I want that brand new Corvette too. Guess what? I don't have it. I haven't purchased one. I don't have any brand new cars. I like to. I work at a car company. I like to buy a brand new car, but I've got kids. I got college funds. I got a mortgage, And you have to know your limits. You have to know what your budget is, and you have to plan for the future. Living day to day is no way to live a life. There's a smart person once said, a fool and their money are soon parted. Well, that's what happened in 2008. Their money was parted from them because they were being foolish. It's time to get serious, people. Time to educate the millennials as to what they are doing and what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. I'm all for improving our way of life. I'm all for a more perfect union, but that is not a socialist system. I'm sorry. I'll talk more about these things in the next video, which I'll be doing shortly. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's 15 minutes long. Have a great day.